Well, good afternoon, and thank you to those who have joined us already. If you would like to say hello in the chat box or the Q&A box, Declan and I are both here. Be good just to see where you're all from, how you're all getting on, and just to introduce yourselves really. So if you'd like to join in, then please just post in the chat and the Q&A box for me, and we'll get started. We've got a few more joining us, so we'll just let them get settled and then we'll get started. Brilliant. Thanks, John. Thank you, Catriona, and thank you, Lyndon. Good to have you with us this afternoon. So let's get started. So thank you for joining us and welcome to the AICDP webinar for October. Today we're going to be looking at the power of education and how together we can expand the credit profession through the education services available from AICDP. So I'm delighted to be joined by Declan Flood this afternoon, who's going to be talking to you a little bit more about the education programmes, what's involved, what you need to be aware of, and the joining dates, etc. You'll also have an opportunity to ask Declan any questions. So if you do want to ask any questions throughout the presentation, if you pop them in the chat or the Q&A box, we certainly will come back to those at the end of the meeting. A copy of this webinar is being recorded and will be on the AICDP website within the next couple of days, and we will send you a copy of the recording as well if you'd like to receive a copy, so just let us know. So I thought I'd just take a few minutes, as I know we've got a few people on the call this afternoon who are interested in joining AICDP, just to take you through a few pieces of information that you might or might not be aware of. So AICDP was formed in 2014 to provide the credit professionals with a platform to share knowledge, to network with peers, and the essence was to create an organisation that is there to raise the profile of the credit community. Not just in the UK, but Europe and beyond. We're fortunate that we've got just over 340 members at the moment. And I have to say this year we have grown that number considerably, which I think is in line with what's obviously going on in the world, and actually having information at your fingertips is quite key. We've got members from just over 20 countries, so we cover the UK, Ireland, we have members in the USA, we have members in Europe, Middle East, Asia, etc. So we really are a truly global audience, and we welcome membership across the levels of credit profession, from those that are just starting out in credit, just taking their first tentative steps, all the way through to credit directors. We can all learn from each other. This year, especially, but certainly one of the main things that AICDP is really keen on is the support for the credit community, especially as we change and adapt. Obviously, this year has caused a few problems, but you can certainly see that with having a AICDP on your side, you've got a network of peers that you can get help, support, or even just ask questions as and when you need. We have an active social media page on LinkedIn, we have Twitter, we have a regular network of mail shots going out, and we have a wealth of corporate partners who, again, we can tap into their vast experience and knowledge. So the support is really key, and this is something that we will certainly continue into 2021 and beyond. Knowledge is key, and you'll find with all of our webinars, all of our events, that there is a real high profile on actually sharing knowledge and making sure that the credit community is geared up and looking ahead to what challenges might be coming over the horizon next. And again, this will certainly continue, and we look for all of our corporate partners and our members to sort of share knowledge where it becomes available. Importantly, I think membership is free, and what you get for your membership is access to the LinkedIn groups, the Twitter accounts, the actual membership base, so that we can all ask each other's questions. We can get that support when we need it most. And we do provide a number of events throughout the year. With COVID, we can't meet face to face, but we do ensure that those meetings are virtual, and you still can join in and chat with your peers. So keep an eye out. Our next big event will be on the 27th of November, and details will be announced this week. And we do have a keynote speaker for this, so already looking forward to it. And we do have an active webinar program as well, where each month we do put on webinars from different topics. So keep an eye out on social media for all of our new key dates. I've talked about a few of the things there, but certainly the training and the education piece is quite a strong proposition at the moment, because we all need to gear ourselves for the changing landscape, and education is a brilliant way of how you can adapt and how you can excel and get the qualifications you need to take your career forward. I'm not going to go into too much detail because that's what Declan's here to talk about. But as you can see, we do try and bring a wealth of information to members. And we would also like to hear from you. So if there's something particular that you would like us to run a hot topic on, or a webinar, or you think there's a key piece of information that you think would be really beneficial, then please let us know. We're here, we listen, we take our members' opinions on board, and we actually try and shape the agenda. We have an active committee who meet every quarter to plan events, plan training, plan education, and we really do want to listen to what our members want, especially in 2021 forward. So my contact details will be on the screen very shortly, so if you do have anything that you would like us to cover, then please let us know. So as you can see, if you would like to become a member, then the contact details are there. If you visit the website, AICDP.global, you will see there's a whole section on the website geared up for membership, what the benefits are, what you get, etc. And you can fill a simple form in on there, and that'll get you added straight away to become a member, and you can start benefiting from what we offer. Or you can give us a call on the number on screen, and again, we're happy to talk it through with you. So, and like I say, any questions, happy to answer. So I'm now going to hand over to Declan, who's going to be talking about expanding the credit profession. So Declan, over to you.
That's grand, Claire. Thank you very much. And good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much for taking time out of your busy schedules. And I hope that we'll have an enjoyable hour together and informative. Just tell you what's going on in the world and what's going on in the world of credit management. I know any of you who have worked in credit for a long number of years, you know, have been around the block a couple of times, and I'm so old, I've been through a few recessions now at this stage. And I think all of us have to know that we're heading into very interesting times. And that is actually a curse in China, where their definition of a curse is, may your life be interesting. So we are heading into difficult times. I think what's been happening, my view of what's been happening up to now, is that the recession has been postponed due to borrowing from governments. And I think governments have borrowed vast amount of money, and certainly our own government here in Ireland is no exception, to cushion the blow so people can live and eat. And this is masking the lack of economic activity that's going out there. But look, guys, we work in credit. We know what it's like. It's okay to borrow money and to be awash with money. which the economy seems right now, there comes a time when that has to be paid back. And that's when the fun and games begin. I've always said, it's easy to borrow money. It's paying it back is the hard part. And we know that. So I think over the next year, as the economies, and all you have to do is look around at the high streets, at retail, at shops to see what's going on. So I honestly believe that in the next 12 months, credit management is going to be even more important than it ever has been before. The businesses that will survive are the businesses who will be able to generate cash. The businesses who fail are the ones who won't. And it's literally that simple. Now, look, I'm a sad credit person. I've worked at it all my life. I'm passionate about credit management, and I still believe that it's one of the most underrated functions that's out there. And I suppose part of what we're looking at today in terms of expanding the credit profession, we need to stand up now and take ownership for the functions. We are charged with getting cash for our business, and that cash will be needed. Look, I know we live in almost zero interest rate worlds, which is kind of, I think, artificially diminishing the value of money. It'll be very soon before money will be valued again. And the credit profession have to step up now to ensure the survival of the businesses that we work in. So that's the premise. For those of you who don't know me, I'll introduce myself. My name is Declan Flood. I have worked in credit management all my working life, been passionate about it. And it's something that and Claire mentioned earlier about sharing information and all that kind of stuff. And just to let everybody know as well, I'm quite happy to share all the information I have. I've spent a lifetime getting it together, and there's no point in having files and information sitting on my laptop. I want to get it out there. We want to help, we want to support, and I see AICDP is great for that. And it's not just it's not even a money grabbing organization, as you can see from the free membership. And I think everybody that I know within AICDP, and myself included, we are here to help. So if you're setting out on your career, or you're moving into a management role or a team leader role, and look, it can be difficult. Credit management is lonely at the best of times. Now, so many people are working from home, it can be even more lonely, and it can be even more challenging. So I would urge you to reach out. It's not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength. And there is a wealth of people here, myself included, who really just want to help you with whatever issues you have. And just feel free, either drop us an email, pick up the phone. We're here to help. And I just want you to know that. Now, obviously, I'm here to talk today about the education, and that unfortunately is not free, but it's as reasonable as we can make it. So I'll go through the details. So expanding the credit profession. So just let me go through that for a moment, because there's a few areas that we want to expand the credit profession. One is in terms of its image within business. Credit is not just debt collection. And so many people in business just see the credit function, they're the debt collectors. That's all you do. Now, collections is a very important role within credit. Credit is just so much more than that. And I think everybody working in credit, part of being here today, I want you to look at your own desk, your own office, your own company, and just look at the areas where you can expand your influence and your authority. Because one thing I have learned from many years as a credit manager, that when things go wrong within a business, and look, we live in an imperfect world, things do go wrong. The people who feel the pain of that more than anybody else are the credit guys. And what I have found in my experience is that the more areas that come under the umbrella of credit, the smoother everything runs. Because, let's not sell yourself short, and please never do that. You are at the heart of your business. You know everything that's going on in the business. You know what's going right and what's going wrong. You're in touch with customers more than salespeople are. You're in touch with the accounts more than the accountants. Like, you know what's going on, and you know what needs to happen and what should happen on a daily basis. So, and so many credit managers have problems with queries, with disputes, with billing, with all sorts of other things. And I suppose my first point for you to take away from today is look to see how you can expand your credit role within your business. If you take ownership for billing, I guarantee you the billing will be correct and the bills will go out on time. If you take ownership for pricing, you will eliminate your pricing queries. So let's not just spend our time fixing problems and putting out fires. What I think credit management is about is being above it and managing all the issues that have to be there. And rather than sort of fixing queries, solve them and then go on and make new mistakes the next day. So that's really what the whole thing is about. So look at opportunities to expand the role and then to expand the profession, because it's not just about debt collection. Proper credit management, we decide who we do business with. We decide at what level we do business. We decide what markets we can, work in. We have the power to do that. And it's not about power and influencing power over people. It's about working with people on a commercial basis to make sure that the sales we make are profitable sales. That's what this is all about. And if I had to define, and I have done it in the past, in terms of defining the role for a credit manager, I think if you see yourself in credit as the manager of the margin, our job is to make sure that the sales are turned into profitable sales. We have to make sure that what we're doing is profitable. And that's the remit of credit. We have to make sure that our customers are happy and that they get what they require. And once we do this, and in the next year, mark my words, credit is going to come into its own in business. And it's time that people start listening to us. And I know you're sitting there, be it in your office or at home or whatever, thinking, they never listen to me. You have to make them listen. And how you do that, if you want a tip as well today, is how you do that is you explain to them why it is in their interest that you do a particular action. So it's not just deck on an ego trip. It's, look, the business will be better off, we will be better off, the company will be better off if we do it this way. And there is nobody in your business who knows better what needs to be done and how it needs to be done than you. So part of what I want to give you today is confidence in your own ability. Too many credit controllers are they just lack that bit of confidence. And I hope through AICDP and through networking and through just talking and listening to people like myself, that it will give you that confidence that you need to move to the next level. So that is that. Just let me see if I can move these slides. Yeah, there's my arrow. So if we want credit to be a profession, and this is something I have always wanted, is credit to be seen as a profession, a recognized business profession. It's not just some incidental work that happens when everybody else has done what they want to do. It's not just fixing things and picking up the pieces, and it's not debt collection. I really think there's a place, and we've seen it in so many companies, where there's a place for a director of credit who sits somewhere between the finance director and the sales director. So this is what we want. We want credit to be a profession sitting at the board table, and we want credit professionals running that function. That's what it's all about. And I suppose if we want it to be a profession, which I hope we all do, then it is a prerequisite for that we have qualified credit professionals. And for the last 20 years, we've been working on developing a diploma of credit management, and not just working on developing it, we've been delivering it for the last 20 years. And what this does, more than anything that I've seen anywhere on the planet, is I think it's a perfect mix between academic knowledge and practical help. So this is not just an academic course written by somebody who decided to write a book. This is something that is put together by somebody who's lived credit all their lives. So it's as practical as it is academic. And I think we need that knowledge and we need that vision to move credit to the next level. So it's not a fly-by-night thing. As I say, 20 years ICMT have dedicated to this. And what we have come up with is something that I think is very special. And I think from an AICDP perspective, we have students all around the world. And my honest hope is that AICDP qualified will become the world standard in future, that no matter where you are in the world, having your AICDP diploma is seen as a badge of merit that you know what you're on about. Now, I suppose I just want to come back to the company name. So that's that. Sorry, I'll just go over that. So yes, the company I set up over 20 years ago is called Irish Credit Management Training. And I know I have been accused of being parochial in terms of that. But look, no apologies. I am Irish and we're based in Ireland and we are proud to be Irish. The fact of the matter is the education we provide is universal. And I've had the honor of being on stages and platforms around the world. And the one thing that strikes me so much is whether I'm in Canada or Helsinki or South Africa, is that credit is the same the world over. You go off to these exotic places and you think, these guys have it sussed. And they don't. And in a lot of cases, they're worse than we are. So credit is universal. And in terms of how to do it properly, that is universal as well. So even though the name might say Irish, the qualification itself, and I've done a lot of work during shutdown and beyond to make sure that the material is universal, that the concepts are universal and the learning is universal. So no matter where you are, there is some valuable lessons to be learned. And I go through some of those and give you some details of what's involved as well. So that is that. Let me just move on here. So that's it. So we're setting the standards worldwide. That's what it's all about. So here's what, now look, of course I wrote these slides, so you can take these, but the diploma itself is, it's a 1-year diploma course. I'll go through the details with it. And it is challenging. I'm not going to say this is easy. If it was easy, anyone could do it. So it's not, it is challenging. I hope it's also enjoyable as well, in as much as you can enjoy credit management. So there's lots of learning points, lots of things that you can bring into your office on a weekly basis. And that's really what it's all about as well. So a lot of qualifications are very academic, and you're learning stuff that, yeah, it's probably good to know. To me, it's about practical knowledge. And I know even Claire said, knowledge is key. One thing that I have learned recently as well is, yes, knowledge is important. What I have found is more important is the application of that knowledge. So having all the knowledge in the world, if you don't do anything with it, it's no good to you. So part of what we pride ourselves in this course is that, yes, we have the knowledge, we give you the knowledge, and then we show you how to apply it to your office, which is what matters to you. And what I've done over the years, and this has gone through a few different revisions, look, there are 4 areas that we need to focus on. And within the diploma course, each of these 4 areas is an individual subject. So there's a subject called credit management, where we learn about the management of credit. Collections is a field all unto itself. Now, it's part of credit, and one that we have to take seriously, because the fact of the matter is, at the end of the day, how well you do your role as credit, it's all about money in the bank. That's really what it's all about, in terms of how quickly we can collect the money. And this is where the rubber meets the road. Collections is the key area. And again, I would contend there is a right way and a wrong way to do it. And I would like to think that our way is the right way. Credit risk assessment as well, because we have to make decisions, and that's part of the credit function as well. So it's not just about collecting, it's about making decisions. And I see it essential that people working in credit, down to the basics, to know how to read a set of accounts, and not only how to read it, but how to interpret it, and then make intelligent decisions as a result. That's what credit risk assessment is about. And then from an international perspective, then we're looking at international credit management. So they are the 4 subjects that we cover. And I'll just go into them just a little more in depth, just that you see what's covered and what we are going to do. So the course itself, it runs over 2 15-week terms. So you do 2 subjects at a time. At the minute, they're doing risk and credit management, and then the next term in February, it will be collections and international. So, you know, you do 2 subjects at a time, and it's over a 2 15-week term. So it is a commitment from a time perspective. The learning, obviously, I think is worth it, but then maybe I'm biased. So that is the course. On credit management, so what we do is we look at the credit function, I would like to think, from start to finish. And a lot of things that you should be doing, a lot of things maybe you are doing, and maybe there's a lot of things that you need to review and look at. You see, to me, the worst reason for doing anything is because we've always done it that way. And so many times I walk into office and say, well, why are you doing that? And the answer is, oh, well, we always do it like that. Now, look, I've no problem with traditional methods and doing things the same way for 100 years. The question I'd ask is it working? And if it's working, then stick with the old ways, that's fine. If it's not, or if it's not working perfectly, then we need to look at doing something different and upscaling it. So where we start with credit management in the course is opening new accounts. Now, you might say, Dec, that's simple. Yeah, it's simple to a lot of people. And some people just have no systems, procedures, or thinking behind opening new accounts. And again, there is a step-by-step process for doing it in terms of making sure, for example, as simple as this sounds, having the right legal entity. And we go into those kind of levels of detail within the course as well. And I just challenge you guys out there in terms of this, knowing the right legal entity. And you're sitting there going, yeah, Dec, sure, everybody knows that. Okay, here's a challenge for you. And my challenge is, and look, nobody's going to know, so it's all very well. And this is part of your homework for the session today, because you're not getting away for free. So part of your homework from today's session is to go through your own debtor's ledger. Just go down, look at all the names from start to finish. And what I want you to do is highlight the ones where you do not have the correct legal name. And you might think, what? But sure, I guarantee you don't. And the best I have seen is about 50 or 60% of the names on the accounts are correct legal names. We have trading names, we have, non-registered entities. And guys, look, anybody who's heard me talk in the past, that credit is about trust. And that's what it's all about. The first thing is we have to know who we're trusting. And if that doesn't resonate with people in terms of knowing who our correct legal entity is, I ask another question, and maybe you can ask yourself this quietly, and it's this. In the old days, and even still, I suppose, there still are a few checks around from a business perspective, even though they are becoming few and far between. Here's the challenge. The challenge is the next time you get a bunch of checks or even look back over checks that you've received in the past. And the question is, has it ever happened where the name that's printed on the check doesn't exactly match the name that you have on the account? So I know it's the same question, but it's posed differently. And people say to me, oh, that happens all the time. And the point of that is that if it happens all the time, if the name that's printed on the check is not the same as the name you have on the account, then you don't know who your customer is. So even though a lot of this might sound basic, it's far from basic. And so our students, and I hope that there isn't one student out there who has a dodgy debtor's ledger who they don't know who it's from. So opening new accounts, going through a step-by-step process, knowing how to monitor them, how to evaluate them, how to set them up, how to make sure we have the right legal entity. Because there was 3 great words from Ronald Reagan back when we had great American presidents, I joke. He said 3 words, which I thought was great. He said, trust but verify. And I think that could be written about credit. So yes, credit is based on trust, and we trust people and then we verify. And that's part of the account opening process. So it's a step-by-step process that goes through all the various stages. Now, look, you might be sitting there thinking, yeah, that's all very well, Jack, but we have 100 new accounts every day and we haven't time to dot every I and cross every T. And that's fine too, because at the heart of what we're teaching and at the heart of credit, as far as I'm concerned, is that we are commercial, that we work with the sales team. Our job is to get those accounts open as quick as we possibly can and to do it right, which is the important part. So this hopefully will give you a flavor of the topic and the level that we get down to. And within all the different chapters within our modules, as we call them, within the course, there are practical exercises and tips in terms of how to do it. The second area we cover is credit policy. And look, we know every business should have a credit policy. The reality is they don't. And there are 2 extremes. There's one company who has no credit policy whatsoever. Yeah, they just make it up as they go along, which is grand. And the other extreme is where we have this bound 98-page document that is gold letters that says credit policy that nobody has ever read. And either case is wrong. What the credit policy should be is a living document. This is how we do business. This sets out the rules. And within the diploma, we learn how to set out a policy. What's the criteria for a policy? Now, we don't tell you what to do because we don't know your business. We explain the options to you. And in some cases, maybe a conservative policy is required because it's a business with low margins, it's an established base, and definitely a conservative policy is the correct option there. If we're in a startup situation or a high moving or high profit area, maybe a liberal policy where we say, look, we'll give credit to anybody who comes along. It's just that we're not making it up as we go along, that we have a policy, we have it written down, we know the rules, and more importantly, everybody else within the organization knows the rules as well. So part of what's behind everything that I teach is to reduce conflict, particularly internal conflict, as much as possible. And anybody who's working in credit knows that people outside the profession think that the hassle with credit is with customers. And you and I know that the hassle that we have from a credit control, 80% of it is internal problems. So if we can get those internal problems working, then we have a quiet life as well. So writing the credit policy, knowing the different options that are available, knowing how to set it out, what the content, authority levels, all that kind of stuff. And it just makes everything run smoothly along. And that's really my wish for everybody here. The other areas we look at, terms and conditions. Now, look, this is the small print, sometimes on the back of invoices or part of your new account application form. Most people don't even bother. There's too many words in it. And we're at an age now where our attention spans are so low that reading that many words is just too much of a chore. Yet from a credit manager or credit controller's perspective, you need to know what your terms and conditions are. And more importantly, you need to understand them, what they're saying to you, and how you can make them serve you, because that's what it's all about. The only time they're dusted off and read is when there's a row, and then it's too late. So from that perspective, if we want to learn about credit management, we have to know our own terms and conditions. And also, even though it's buried in there, it's a completely separate item, which is credit terms. So how long do we give people to pay? And there's sections on that as well. Credit management, again, is not just about debts and debt collection. To me, it starts with documentation, getting your invoices right, getting your statements right, getting credit notes, if possible, eliminate it, even unless it's a part of doing business. So if we can get all the sort of component parts, get our admin working smoothly from the time an order is placed, dispatched, delivered, invoiced and paid for, that we follow that route through. And the more control the credit have over that particular area of the admin role, the smoother it goes through, because there is nobody else in your organization who knows more about how admin should flow than the credit person. And similarly with systems as well. So we need to know and understand the systems. We need to make sure that it gives us, and probably more importantly, what our customers need, because we are here to serve our customers. Right first time has been a motto of mine since I started working. It is just unbelievable. Sorry, I'm just, you see, I'm a man, I can only do one thing at a time. I can either read the comments, and so that's that. But yeah, just from Dan, and he's written to the panelists saying, as a corporate partner of AICDP, we at co-credo, it would be happy to help with locating the correct legal entity of your customer. So that's, I don't know whether, can everybody see that, Claire? Is it just me? And you?
It just is at the moment.
It's just us at the moment. So okay, so Dan, thank you very much for the offer, and it's something that I would highly recommend everybody to do as an exercise to make sure that at least you're working from a firm foundation. So and again, hopefully that's a measure of the support that's there within the AICDP for everybody. So appreciate that, Dan. Thank you. So right first time, this is something that I am absolutely manic about, and I was when I was working, I am when I'm training, and I am on the education side as well. We spend so much time redoing stuff, doing credit notes, dealing with queries, dealing with disputes, dealing with all sorts of matters of things that are going wrong. And if only we could get it right from the start, how much work would that eliminate? And again, we go through each function within the business and each department within the business and how we can set up a right first time function with them. Now, look, there's no magic wands here. There's no, what we give you is the process and the desire to do this within your business. And once you can show them that, getting invoices wrong is giving customers an excuse not to pay, which is bad. It's also bad for the company image as well, because, there is credibility out there, and we pride ourselves in getting our products right. We also have to pride ourselves in getting our invoices right. And to me, I see no difference between that. So part of credit management, so this is not just, this is a debtor's ledger, or this is, it's dynamic and it's real and it's real world. And then finally, reporting, which is a hobby horse of mine as well in terms of reporting. So what do we report on? How do we report? How do we measure our success? Yes, we do include DSOs, even though I'm not a fan of them, but look, it is a standard line within business. So so that's that. So we look at, and that's only a flavor of some of the topics that are covered in credit management. So I'm hoping, having been through the 15 weeks of the course, doing the practical exercises, tests and stuff, that credit controllers emerge, knowledgeable, confident, and being able to apply this to their unique circumstances, which is what the whole thing is about. And that's just one of the subjects. The second one then that we look at is collections. And collections is, to me, it's a fantastic subject. I love it. But look, collections is all about communications. And that's what it is. It's just communications. And if we can show people how to communicate better, then we're going to get the best results. And the funny thing is, within collections, it's not so much about speaking, it's a lot about listening. And the psychology of a debtor there, that's sort of getting into people's heads, understanding where they're coming from and how we can work with them to find a solution. The one thing I will give away on this section, because it cracks me up, and I've seen it so many times, because part of communications, we deal with even down to words and questions and stuff. And the one word that drives me scatty when I see it, and I see it everywhere, and you've probably used it yourself from time to time, which is chasing payment. Oh, we're chasing payment. We'll help you to chase payments. And I just cringe when I see and hear that. So this will just give you a flavor of the course and our approach and all that sort of stuff. Because here's the question, guys. If I am chasing, what are you doing? And the answer to that is you're running away. Because if I am chasing, there is nothing else you can do. True? So if we know that by chasing somebody will cause them to run away, why would I be chasing payment? And I hope, even if you never do a course, just the fact that you're here today for an hour, you will eliminate that word from your vocabularies. You will never chase anyone for payment again. Your job is to collect the payment. Your job is to arrange payment. Can you see that? You are not chasing. We are here to help people to meet their contractual obligations. That's what we're here to do. And now more than ever, and as business emerges from lockdowns, shutdowns, and everything else, the skill of collectors is going to come into its own. Because what we have to avoid is, like businesses have been on lockdown, businesses are shut down. The high street, certainly in Ireland now, all businesses have closed apart from non-essential businesses. There are pubs have been closed since March, effectively. Restaurants are gone, retail shops. So from a credit perspective, now we can throw our hands up in the air and think it's useless, it's hopeless. And the people who do that, they'll be absolutely right. It is useless, it is hopeless, and then they're going to follow them into oblivion. But we have to know how far can we push. We can't be walkovers at the end of the day. We can't be, funding their businesses, because that's not what we're here to do. Yet we can't be too aggressive either. And if people have genuinely been closed for the last 4 months and there's no cash in the business, then part of the collections process is to work with these guys to find solutions. And over the next few months, the learning points in this course are going to become far more important than ever before. So it's about, and this is down to listening, understanding, and then finding a solution. The people who do that will succeed. The people who don't, if you're too hard, you will get a bad reputation and you lose business. If you're too soft, you'll become a soft touch and you'll end up out of business yourself. So it's just finding that line is what we're aiming to do here. And every business, I say, whether you do the course or not, that's something that you are going to have to do as well. Writing letters and emails. So much of collections is now in written format and email and electronic formats. And guys, I have seen some horrific letters and I've seen some horrific emails, from a wording, from a structure, it's embarrassing. And that's why there's a whole section on the collections course in terms of how to write a letter. Most people learned how to write a letter from Mrs. Cullen in 4th class, dear sir, 2 fingers, I am writing to you and we still write letters the same way. So we're in the 21st century. Email is the communication. if we don't do it correctly, we're not going to get responses. Let's learn how to do it correctly. On the phone, and if you notice, I have emails and letters ahead of the telephone. If I was doing this 2 years ago, the telephone would have been the #1 method of communication, whereas now I know it isn't. It's still a very important part, and you still have to know how to approach it, how to get results, how to do it. So there's a whole section on that. And then, of course, if all the good stuff I teach you falls on deaf ears and they still won't pay, then we have to look at other options in terms of third-party collections, legal route, because your job in the credit role is to make sure we get paid, and we'll do it as easy way, hopefully. And if not, then obviously we have to look at other options, because it's still your responsibility to get paid no matter what. Now, it's not your responsibility to throw good money after bad, suing people who have absolutely nothing. That's part of the judgment call within credit as well. The third subject is probably the most controversial. People either love it or hate it. I love it, but then I'm sad, so I would. Credit risk assessment. So this is kind of, and the first 2 modules are fairly accounting based in this. And I make no apologies. I know credit people are not accountants. I know they don't want to be an accountant, and that's fine. Still, you have to be able to understand what's now called an income statement and a statement of financial position, which used to be the profit and loss and balance sheet. You need to be able to read them. You need to be able to understand them. You need to be able to extract. And what I pride myself in this subject is that rather than just, we use the numbers as a base and we extract the story from the numbers. So what way is the business going? So it's given that level of understanding of the financial position of a business to, and I know ratio analysis sounds cold and clinical. There's a whole raft of stories behind that. And by learning how to use them and how to combine them and how to put them together, you would be amazed at the information that we're given. And in terms of scoring models, now look, I'm not up there to rival the credit providers who give you scores. But again, they're generic scores. What I will give you is a simple scoring model where you can make your own decisions based on the numbers. And comparative scoring models, if you want to take 3 or 4 companies in an industry, we can rank them in terms of which is high, medium, and low risk. Very, very important part as well. And then I don't know how it found its way into credit risk assessment, but maybe it is. The whole cash operating cycle, to make sure that we understand that from a financial perspective, to know where the business is going. So yes, it is accounting based. It's credit accounting rather than just pure accounting. Again, I think it's something that everybody really working in credit should be familiar with. And the basis for this course is that sometime during your career, somebody is going to come along, throw a set of accounts on your desk and say, are they okay for 50 grand? And without, having a agency report to just click it in and see if they are or they're not, this will give you the confidence to make up your own mind, because it is quite possible that you will get an agency report that will tell you these guys are good for 10, but the decision you have to make is for 50. So you need to be able to, okay, well, if the agency said they're good for 10, they're probably okay. Now, am I prepared to go the extra mile in order to get this business? That's what I want students to be able to emerge with, that knowledge and information. So that is credit risk assessment. And then the fourth subject in the diploma is international. So here we look at a more global, the international trade, credit risk, what different risks are involved when we're dealing internationally, collections, letters of credit, promissory notes, all the kind of various methods of collection from an international perspective. We look at the 4 risks, country risk, currency risk, commercial, and cross-cultural. There's a whole module on cultural awareness. So, what's right in the UK may not work in Ireland. What works in Ireland may not work in Germany, and certainly won't work in Japan or China. So it's just to give the etiquette and the international understanding of, taboos and what you do and what you don't do from an international perspective, that personally I find fascinating. And I think anybody who's been through the course has a look at that as well. And then the other thing, and again, this is not really for learning by rote, but more for information for a credit perspective, is we look at the legal guide for the top 20 countries as well. So in terms of, what the legal process is, in terms of judgments, enforcement, and whether retention of title works, and all the kinds of stuff that you might take for granted working where you are, that may not be, may not work in international. So just to understand the international market. So they're the 4 subjects that we're covering on the diploma. I hope you're half excited about them now at this stage. We've adopted it with COVID and all the rest. So it's 100% remote. People don't have to come to a classroom. We get together at the start for a 3-hour session on a Saturday morning, so it doesn't interfere with the work week. We have one coming up on the 7th of November. If anybody can't wait to get started, talk to myself or Katrina, and we'll squeeze you in on that one. And the next term then is starting on the 20th of February. So we get together on a Saturday morning. After that, then you get weekly notes, emails, tests, exercises. So you work on your own time, but there is a deadline. You can't just leave it all till the last week and hope to do it. So you have to do a little bit of work every week. We build in breaks and stuff for you as well. And we tend to alternate as well. So one week it's risk and the next week it's credit management, so you don't get bored. There is work to be done within the week. And it's doable. As I said at the start, it's challenging, it's enjoyable. It's definitely worthwhile. And then at the end, so you have 2 assignments per subjects, which again are practical, and then you have a 2-hour exam at the end. Now, we've been running the exams on Zoom as well, so it's an open book exam. It's not a memory test. It's about your understanding, and how you apply the knowledge is what matters. So if you sign up for the course, we get together on the Saturday, about 2 weeks before the exam. Then we have a revision session. We get together for a couple of hours on a Saturday morning as well, and then the exam. And throughout the course, you have access to, we have a number of tutors for each subject. You have access to your tutors, you have email support, so you are never alone. And I suppose that's something that I want to verify as well, that it's something that you work with us and we work with you, and we're there to support. So that's and by having a number of people who have this knowledge and information and application, we hope to raise the standards of credit. And personally, and I'm seeing it more and more in Ireland in particular, people are looking for a qualification. And what we've been doing at ICMT for the last 20 years is that recognised qualification, certainly on the island of Ireland. Of course, there are other organisations offering qualifications, and that's fine too. The numbers are there on the screen. Katrina, I know, is on the call, even though everybody's quiet. Katrina's been working with me for the last number of years. So if you want to talk to herself or myself, that's a Dublin number there. You can get us on. That's an email you can get us on. And I know it's ridiculous, click here for details on a PowerPoint presentation, but hopefully when the slides are made available after the event, that is a clickable link that you can work on and get information from us. And look, if you're sitting there and you think, look, I have 20 people on my team, I would love to get them up to this standard, that would just make so much difference to the company. In fact, if we got 15 of them up to standards, we probably only need 15. We wouldn't need the other 5. We can run the diploma course almost as an in-house session for you and do our own inductions with your group. So we can run groups separately if you have a big team, and everything is on the table. So like everything else, we are flexible and we want as many people. Somebody else. Progression, I'm not here to talk about it today, but there is a second year which is called the Advanced International Diploma in Credit Management, and that specializes just on management. So it's on managing people, managing the function, managing yourself as well, which is the most important. There's a kind of a mini thesis built into it. So this is from a management perspective. So what you have to do as a credit manager to survive. We might have another chat about that if we're interested. That's not, we just let you know it is there and it's available. So that is that. And I see time is marching on. We're 5 to 4 now at this stage. I said I'd keep you for an hour. So look, let's open it up for the last 5 minutes for questions. If you have questions about the course, if you have questions about credit management, if you have questions about anything, now is your time, either chat box or whatever. Will we receive the meeting in recording so I can share with the team? That's Aniel, is it? Aniel, absolutely. Claire, you'll be putting that up online and you share a link with it.
Well, yes, we'll make sure everyone gets a copy of the recording and a copy of the slides as well.
Oh, that's grand. And they would love to see it. And just on the team as well, hopefully they enjoy it. You know, if you want to make contact with me directly, I'm quite happy to talk to anybody anytime. It's what I do. So, you know, feel free to contact me as well. Simon Marshall, we can advise on scoring models and powerful tools for stable real-time risk assessment. So again, thanks, Simon. We have so many resources there for everybody as well. So, you know, let's start using them as well. So click on the chat box there at the bottom and type in questions, if you will. I'll thank you for your time and your attention. I hope you got a couple of tips out of today. So even if the education side is not for yourself, hopefully there's 1 or 2 things that you could pick up from today that you go, yeah, I might have a go at that, or I should do that, or I will do that. If there's anything else you want or need, please, we're here. We're happy to help. And I know one thing, Claire, we were talking about just even before the session, maybe having virtual meetup or something of that nature, which I think is fantastic. So just to support people who might be on their own, just even drop in and chat. You know, I think it was a great idea and it's Claire's idea, so I'll take no credit for it. But I'm quite willing to set it up and organize it. So if it is something that you'd be interested in, drop me a note and I'm quite happy to set it up. And again, needless to say, no charge whatsoever. Oh, there I am. Yeah, looking smiley with my suit on back in the day when we used to meet people in person. And the contact details are there. So if you want to, that's my mobile number. Obviously, put a 353 in front of that if you're ringing from outside of Ireland. And love to hear from you. And thank you very much for your attention. And I'll hang around for the next few minutes. I'm not rushing off. And have a great day. See you all, folks. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Declan, we have got a quick question that's come in. Obviously, you talked about the time commitment and is there a rough sort of number of hours that people will be required, or does it depend on how they work, or is there any advice you can give on sort of what level of dedication that people need to put towards it?
Yeah, and if everybody wasn't unique, that'd be easy. I put it down usually about 3 hours a week. Now there are people who spend a bit longer, and then there's the bright ones who spend a bit quicker, you know, who can just absorb information or whatever. Certainly, I think from reading notes and doing tests, you'd want to allow probably around 3 hours a week. And then obviously from a job, because there's practical stuff, you know, then you get to work on it back at the ranch. And even just being able to go to your manager and suggest stuff like credit policy and say, look, I'm doing this on the course, and do you think it'd be a good idea to have a policy? You know, even that conversation is raising your position within the organization, that you're not just somebody sitting at a desk doing what they're told. So I think it does show initiative. And like I've said all along, the people we want on this course are people who are ambitious, who want a career in credit management. So I think, though, you know, 2 or 3 hours a week would be what I would expect. And there may be weeks if you get bogged down in numbers and risk, you know, it might be 4, but there are breaks built in and there's times for assignments, and you have support from myself and the team of tutors as well. So you are not alone. Yeah, thanks there. Anybody else?
Thank you. I think that's all the questions. Declan, I would just like to say a really big thank you for your time this afternoon. I found that really, really useful, and I'm sure everybody else did as well. Just going back to an AICDP point of view, we are here to listen. So if you have got any burning topics that you would like to see webinars on, then please, please, please do get in touch. And also visit the AICDP website at aicdp.global, and you will find a lot more information about what we do, who are the people involved, how we help, who our corporate partners are. As you've seen today, we've got 2 corporate partners on the line today who can actually help point and signpost people to the information that they need, whether it be from a credit checking point of view to make sure that they're trading with legal entities, all the way through to Copilot helping companies with the tools, techniques that they need to make sure they can move with as the credit profession moves. So again, our corporate partners do have a wealth of knowledge, and we are here to help. So if anyone has got anything they'd like to get in touch, please drop myself, Bill Dunlop, or Declan a call. We're here, we're waiting to help, and look forward to you joining us on further AICDP events over the next few months and into 2021. So thank you very much.
That's grand. Thank you there. It was a pleasure, and thank you everybody. See you next. Bye bye.